Sam! Bruce!
Yeah.
Sam and Dean Winchester.
Woo!
Impressions. Jensen Ackles playing Batman in The Long Halloween. I didn't realize this until a few minutes ago. A trailer has come out for this DC animated movie, and I'm so glad it's being divided into two parts. Batman, The Long Halloween. Reread it right before the Batman trailer came out, the week leading into it, because I heard that movie took some inspiration from it. And then Christopher Nolan has talked kind of extensively about how The Long Halloween, tonally and some plot points, were some of the biggest inspirations for The Dark Knight. Batman Year One and The Long Halloween are probably my favorite Batman comics. So when I say I'm excited for this, I'm very excited for it. And if you haven't read The Long Halloween, do yourself a favor. It's pretty, you've read it, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even I've read The Long Halloween, so what's your excuse?
Even John made time, so come on.
It's a great book, it's really is.
We will avoid spoilers, though, in this discussion as much as possible, in case you haven't read it. Some smoking. Jeez, now let's get a video demonetized.
I can't really be a lawyer and a criminal, can I? I want to win.
Holiday music.
But do I want to win like this? I'm of two minds here. So it's a coin flip.
Johnny Vitti was murdered tonight. Falcone Crime Family has to be taken down.
There's only room for one homicidal maniac in this town.
Why are you running?
You could use a little fun.
I thought you didn't hurt people!
You thought wrong.
You still haven't figured out who killed Johnny Vitti?
A killer who only works on holidays.
Calendar Man.
There's lots of crazy out there.
Solomon Grundy.
My
Take
man.
him out. Things are gonna be different. We can start a family.
The city is fallen, Alfred, and we must endeavor to lift it up again. Who is Holiday? And who's next?
Well, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. The thing about the WB animated movies, I haven't seen all of them. I've seen a good chunk of them, though, that's for sure. I feel like the trailers never quite live up to how good the movies themselves are. Wait a minute, didn't Jensen Ackles voice Jason Todd in Under the Red Hood?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he did.
Pretty sure he's done an iteration of Jason Todd.
Oh, that is even cooler now. Then
graduated.
now he gets to play Batman. That just came back to me. Yeah, because Under the Red Hood is what began like a binge watch phase of mine for a lot of the DC animated films. What I gotta comment on, like, weirdly, the first thing is when you see the cover of the DVD, it's like they're honing in on the ones we know.
Yeah, of course.
Batman, Joker, and Catwoman. When really, I'm like, I mean, it's more of like Batman and Harvey Dent.
Yeah,
you
across
know?
the story, like in terms of like the main featured characters. But you know, you gotta hook the kids in with the most exploitable elements possible.
I mean, it's kind of a cheesy cover. They got the pumpkin there.
Yeah, I mean,
the Halloween pumpkin. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't really evoke, like, not that you have to evoke the art of the comic book, but you know, I mean, I feel like it's prolific enough that there is a certain association with it, and this to me kind of looks like a video game or an original animated movie that they shoved onto DVD or something, rather than the adaptation of one of the most influential Batman stories.
And of course, because it's a trailer, they're also trying to like hone in more on the action set pieces and stuff.
Yeah,
when
and cram
like,
it as much as possible.
Yeah, there's some action in there, especially involving the Joker. Like, actually, when I think back to the comic, I might be wrong about this, but the fight sequence that I specifically think of is the chapter specifically dedicated to the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense to kind of showcase some of that. I don't know where they would end this, like for a part one. Where in the storyline would you cut this? Because the DC animated movies, usually they'll change a thing here or there. I know with like the Batman Hush, they really changed like who Hush was to fit the animated movie. But The Long Halloween is thick enough. But I mean, just look at this. It's pretty thick for a graphic novel, you know?
That's 13 issues worth, boy.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, if
House
I go
of
to
M's
the,
like 8
what is the
issues.
exact halfway point of this book, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so chapter 7 would be April Fool's Day. If you guys don't know the comic at all, basically there's a murder that occurs on a Halloween night, and then it spans a year-long investigation. And you hop around to the holidays, basically, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all trying to hunt down the holiday killer. So maybe chapter 7 would be the part 1 endpoint, perhaps?
I mean, 6.5 or 7, mathematically speaking.
I could see this probably ending after the Joker storyline, and then part 2 could probably be really long.
That's,
Yeah.
I feel like you could easily crescendo with that, and then, have the substantial, wrap-up portion be the R-rated, more in-depth movie, you know?
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff that I really love doesn't seem to be that featured here in the trailer, you know, which is in the last half of the book specifically. I love the whole thing pretty much from beginning to end, but yeah, seems a little bit more focused on like, oh, we're going to explore more of the Joker side of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
the
setting,
mob.
Yeah, and then maybe exploring the hero side of Harvey Dent in part 1, and then watching the downfall and deterioration of Harvey Dent and Two-Face in part 2.
Yes.
And I'm excited we're finally going to see some Calendar Man.
And
He
Solomon Grundy.
There's some love.
I mean, Calendar Man especially. he's one of the Batman villains who needs his due.
And I didn't see any Riddler in here. He's more featured in part 2. A lot of the characters in here. Poison Ivy's supposed to be in here, you know? There's a whole bunch of characters. And what will be great about this experience is it's very apparent. The Batman with Robert Pattinson is drawing from way more inspiration than even just Batman comics alone. Borrowing from Chinatown. 7 looked like a very big inspiration for it. But I think what will be neat is if you watch this, you'll easily see stuff of, oh yeah, the Dark Knight definitely pulled from this. And I think if you just go and watch the Batman trailer, you'll be like, oh yeah, the Batman's definitely pulling from this. So I think that's going to be part of the fun of it all.
Be a good study guide for everybody going into the Batman who doesn't want to read all that.
Well, I mean, they have the whole Falcone family element in here, which is a big part of Batman Begins and the Dark Knight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm kind of surprised that this is a PG. Actually, you know what? Now I think about it, now they can get away with being PG-13. I think one thing these DC animated movies tend to do, where they take a little bit more liberty, as demonstrated in this trailer, they enhance the action sequences a lot more.
Make them more violent, more bloody.
A lot more choreographed.
Yeah, more choreographed. But I mean, this looks really cool from an animation perspective too, because I like the variance. It's like, I think, DC does a really good job with their animated movies, but there's often, kind of a uniform style, and, The Long Halloween as a book has a distinctive style with these distinctive sort of watercolory splashes, and like the texture they've imbued a lot of this stuff with, especially on these like Gotham City wide shots. It looks really beautiful, but also really tangible in a way I'm not as used to seeing here, so that got me really excited. And now, I just want to see like a scene breathe, because if there's one thing I didn't get a full sense of, was just like who Jensen Ackles Batman really would be. It's like all the lines he gets are really short.
Yeah.
So I feel like I just need to now hear what his Bruce and Batman are truly like. His voice has the perfect timbre for it,
Well, it's funny about the marketing for these movies is that the marketing moves at such a whiplash pace.
Yeah.
Yet the movies feel so much more mature. Like they feel like, oh, a kid's movie.
Yeah, these are paced like the trailers for a kid's video movie. Yeah.
Then you watch them and you're like, this is this is premature. I do like the animation overall. I'm not 100% in love with it. I get you got to adapt it, and I get you got to make it an enjoyable viewing experience, but it looks like a DC animated movie,
With
basically.
like a little anime sprinkled into some of the face structures and stuff.
Yeah. It's more, it's what I'm kind of used to seeing. I kind of miss that Jeff Lowe, Tim Sale look, which was a lot more film noir, grimy,
Yeah.
It felt like really distinct. Whereas here, this seems like they've taken some of that, but really polished it up.
And sort of smashed it into the general look of the DC animated universe overall to create uniformity or something like that, yeah.
I mean, if you've seen like our coverage for other DC animated movies before, I'm less critical about certain elements, but it's like The Long Halloween is one I really love. Like Batman, but it's like, that's the thing though. I love Batman Year One, the graphic novel, and I loved the DC animated movie as well. I usually have like a lot of faith will pull it off. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing, it's like, it's a big enough and important enough story that it could merit completely immersing in that art style. But at the same time, I can imagine if, you know, once this has a chance to breathe, maybe they do make for an actually pretty decent meld or something,
Right.
you know?
Who's playing Joker? Oh shit, it's Troy Baker! Joel from The Last of Us and Batman Arkham Knight. Awesome!
Pedigree, there you go. Justice for Joel.
Oh, hell yeah,
Gets to play the
dude.
Joker.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, what did you think about this trailer? Are you excited for it to be brought to life? Leave your thoughts down below. You can subscribe, click that notification bell, hit that like button. Last but not least, pay.
Eric Horstman, I really want you to make your own Batman movie. I think you would be the greatest Bruce Wayne this world has ever seen. Don't try to get too into character. I want this to be your personality. I want him to have a drink in hand. Who's your Alfred, man? Because I bet your Alfred would be a fascinating guy. What kind of crime would Eric Wayne have to solve? It would probably be something pretty ridiculous, right? I'm trying to brainstorm, and it's not gonna be anywhere near as good as just what would happen in your actual life if you turned on a camera, got a bat cowl, maybe don't put on the rest of the costume, man. I mean, it's up to you. His bat suit would probably just be assless chaps, and then the bat cowl and the cape, and maybe the gauntlets, and that's it, you know? Like kind of like, remember that time that you cooked hot dogs at Vicious Dogs in your underwear and the Batman cape?
I've been totally listening.
Definitely listening to this super yes and. That was much good. Eric, we love you. Please make this home movie for me. That's my request. If you never ever contribute anything to our operation again, just give me an Eric Bruce Wayne home movie. That's all I want. That's it. That's my long Halloween present right there.
Who do we shout out?
Andrew Hayes.